All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's edition, an afternoon edition of NASCAR 07 on the channel. We're at the Talladega Super Speedway this afternoon for the running of the Aaron's 499 for our 10th race of our Mark Martin's Revenge Tour season. Be sure to like and subscribe for more NASCAR content as we get into this Chicago Street Course race weekend. I'm at my apartment, made the late decision not to go. Most of it was financial reasons with the cost of the race and staying there in Chicago for a couple days. I felt it was better for my intentions not to do that, unfortunately. I usually plan on going to races and then just kind of get the tickets the week of. We kind of basing it off of like SeatGeek and other sports tickets or ticket hub centrals, kind of based the prices off of that, and so far this season it just hasn't really worked out in my favor of going to as many races as I would have liked. Still have only been to Talladega, but we are coincidentally running Talladega here today at NASCAR 07 to kind of make it up for you guys. So a little bit of a doubleheader this afternoon. We will have live commentary coverage from the Chicago Straight Course races then, because I'm not there at the track covering the race this weekend itself. So live commentary stream for the Xfinity race will be after this race is over, probably a little bit after. We're probably going to get done with this between 4:30. That live commentary stream will start at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then tomorrow's Cup race, our live commentary will start at 5 as well. So that is the schedule for the rest of the weekend. More details throughout the course of this one. Let's just get this underway so we can get this done and finish before the Xfinity Series race starts. This is a full race, 500 miles for the Aaron's 499. Tony Stewart is on the pole, and we are racing for our 10th race of the season. We are starting last, no practice, no qualifying. Kind of guessed with the setup. Went with a slightly tighter setup so that way we're not too loose on the swampy Talladega surface, and we'll kind of play it from here. Michael Waltrip, Dale Jr. starting at the tail end of the field. Of course, these are super speedway aces, especially Dale Jr., of course, at Talladega. Michael Waltrip has a win here as well in his NASCAR Cup career and his DEI days. Yeah, plenty of time to get this race in. But it is going to be every bit of 3 hours, so as long as we don't have too many cautions, I guess we should be able to get it in. Didn't lose the pack off the start of the race. That was almost a bad wreck there. Pinched off Reed Sorensen, 3 wide off turn 4. And look at Mark Martin goes. He tries to make up these positions in the early going. Managing the gas a little bit. We did just run a Truck Series race on NASCAR 7 for a championship race here. That was the most recent race at Talladega that we have ran on the channel. 4 wide on the backstretch here in the opening laps goes Martin underneath Dale Jr. He doesn't want to follow him to the front. He wants to lead him to the front. Big dive down into turns 3 and 4 for Mark Martin. And now he'll settle in the middle of the corner underneath Bobby Labonte in the 43. Tony Stewart led the first lap of the race. It looks like he is going to lead lap 2 as they enter the trial over at the front of the field. This 6 car is on rails right now. You wouldn't think this is legend difficulty, but my goodness. What a run for Mark Martin already in 2 laps. He's gone from last to 26th. This thing feels glued to the track too. It feels a little snug in the corners, but it is not bad by any means. It's not floaty. It doesn't have that floaty feel to it, which is good. It feels like Superman. I can just do whatever I want, whenever I want to do it. I don't know if Superman can actually do that. I never really watched a Superman movie, but maybe you guys at the chat could counter that or you're be like, oh no, you can't do everything he wants. Well, actually. Even on the outside showing a little bit of speed here. Back down to the bottom, we got our teammate Greg Biffle there. Casey Kane almost shut the door on Mark Martin. That was a close call. Middle of the corner. Mark going to clear him high. Underneath Greg Biffle, stayed away from him. He's still a rival for whatever reason. I don't know why he was a rival at Darlington. I don't know why he's still a rival, but Just ran the Southern 500 in our last Cup race on the channel. Jimmy Johnson got the win. It's actually been 4 races since the last win for Mark Martin on this season. This pack is staying pretty tightly together still. And don't look now, but in just 4 completed laps, Mark Martin's gone from last to 11th. And now looking to get inside the top 10 as they work their way to turn 1. He clipped the apron. Clipped the apron a little bit. That's going to slow Mark down. 3 wide middle. Like I said, almost in the top 10. That was a dangerous situation. 3 wide middle. I did not hold my line very well at all. Bobbing and weaving all the way through the corner. Release Talladega bumps. And now into 10th, finally clearing Truex. Single file for the top 9, but it is a jumbled pack, obviously, behind the 6. Philip Moore, thanks for tuning in to the stream also. Wade Selinsky, welcome. Outside goes Mark Martin, found a slight hole above Kevin Harvick. Harvick hesitated in making a block, and that hesitation was just enough to allow Mark Martin in. This feels like I'm on rookie mode or something. I mean, this is insane how fast this car is. And we did win the Daytona 500 with Mark Martin on this season, but I don't have a great track record of super speedways on EA Sports games. Finally won our first Talladega race there earlier in the week, so maybe there's a chance we can win this Cup race here today at Talladega as well. Jake Kenseth is an ally at least. Jimmy Johnson up in that second place position. Tony Stewart's led the first 6 laps, about to lead lap 7 at the start-finish line this time by. And this thing's got some single car speed. That's something I usually lack on the super speedways and have to stay in the draft to be really quick, but that is not the case here today. 198 miles an hour into the trioval. 3 wide for second goes Mark Martin to the bottom, clears Newman. He's going to clear Johnson, and he's up to second in just 7 laps. And Tony Stewart, who's out in front right now, may not be out in front for very long. Runs the outside. Mark moved up, trying to get that little extra draft off the back of the 20. Cuts to the inside. Newman going to follow the 6 of Martin. And Martin is going to take the lead at Talladega with a rocket ship of a race car. All clear into turn 3. He'll go up, he'll block, and now we'll see how long we can hold on to it for. But my goodness. So the guy to the front. The tough part is that we're not going to be able to pull away with this being a super speedway. We're just going to have to be smart with our blocks. Obviously aggressive, worked out here in the early going. And we'll also have to see if we're going to have a tighter fuel window like we did in the Talladega truck race. But now I know at least if I'm back in traffic, as long as I keep the car clean, don't get caught up into a silly wreck or anything of that nature, I mean, we're going to have a fast car. We're probably going to have the fastest car in the field the way we rip through everybody like that. Does a failed post-race inspection. We might. And we don't know how good of a car Dale Jr.'s got him, and he was working his way through the field very good in those first couple of laps until we finally passed him and kind of left him in the dust. Wasn't able to keep up with us, at least in the sense of passing race cars. Just got to stay on top of strategy and try to lead as many laps as we can here today. Three drivers with the win in the top 4. Newman with 2, Martin with 5, Johnson, the most recent winner. Newman won 2 in a row before that Southern 500 in which he had a top 5, so 3 top 5s in a row for the Rocket Man. Cameron Cheeseman, thanks for tuning in. Love the paint scheme. Yeah, I did like this AAA paint scheme. Very underrated paint scheme, I feel like, for Mark Martin. He only ran it really, I think this year, like this year meaning 2006, is when this game came out. He might have had it in 2005 for select races, but I know he definitely didn't run this scheme very long. David Reagan pretty much ran the same scheme when he ran his rookie season at Cup in the 6 car the following year in 07. They get runs, but they can't really go anywhere with them. Martin's doing a great job controlling both the top and the bottom. Now, there aren't many cars in this lead pack right now either, so that's also making it slightly easier for Mark Martin. We'll see if they get too racy, they're going to start condensing together more and more as the laps wind on. No camera, by the way, for this stream today. I've got my setup all ready to go in my kitchen slash entrance into the living room, as I usually do for the live commentary stream since moving into my apartment. So with that being said, I didn't want to use the camera with where my laptop's at for this. I literally just have to pick my laptop, go up into a different room. That was a major block there by Mark Martin on Jimmy Johnson. Johnson's going to fall in line. Looks like in 4th, right behind Ryan Newman, as he lost a little bit of time. And that could have been much worse than what it was. That could have been a catastrophe. We saw 3 flips in our Truck Series race here. That could have been another blowover for Mark Martin. Another meeting for me. I didn't flip 3 times at Talladega. I won Talladega, in fact, with the truck race, as well as winning that championship earlier in the week. So trying to get the sweep here by winning this one today as well. Already ran a Busch race at Talladega. I did not win that race, so I guess technically I wouldn't get the sweep, but pretty close. Stewart to the inside for the race lead. Martin trying to side draft him down at the bottom of the racetrack as they work their way into turns 3 and 4. Not going to be as aggressive staying on his door in the corner. Tony Stewart is clear. Off of turn 4. This will be a lead change if Stewart leads at the line, but a second wind into the trioval for Mark Martin as he cuts all the way to the bottom, back to the top, clears Stewart, and officially never gave up the lead in that transition. So still sitting at just the 1 lead change through 13 laps, which is Stewart leading up through lap 8, and then Martin taking the lead coming to the line at lap 9. Yeah, the cheapest tickets for Chicago this weekend on the website for the Chicago Street Race, which I think was just like an external link for NASCAR.com because it was a one-off event with NASCAR basically running the show because they own ISC, so I think it was technically an ISC race, so technically NASCAR had it. Anyway, the tickets on NASCAR's website, $436 was the cheapest ticket. Now, that did include both races. You couldn't buy single Cup tickets, which is all I wanted originally. And then when I saw, I'm like, oh, you have to go to the Xfinity race and the Cup race combined. So you have both of those combined. And that's still way more expensive than the cheapest ticket anywhere else. Like, I was looking at Richmond tickets because I was potentially looking at going there, especially not going to Chicago this weekend. Cheapest ticket at Richmond's like $41. So there's quite a bit of a range of difference there between the cheapest ticket for Chicago this weekend and the cheapest ticket for Richmond. The most expensive ticket for Richmond right now, their best seats, $93. And most of the races I go to, I sit in pretty good seats for the most part, almost right on the start-finish line or as high up as I can go most of the time, to get the better vantage points for the race highlight videos. And they're just honestly the best seats in the house. You can see the full track from pretty much every track I've been to. No matter the size, even if it's a super speedway. And anyway, you get those tickets and they're like $100, maybe just over $100. The only ticket I've had to pay more than I think $150 for, which is for like the best seats, and I'm not talking suites, I'm just talking like regular grandstand seating, was the Daytona 500 in 2022. That was $425. So that was about the same price as what it was for me to go to Chicago. The best seat for the Daytona 500 was cheaper than the cheapest seat to go to the Chicago Street Course. Let that settle in. I paid for the most expensive ticket I could buy for the Daytona 500 2 years ago. That was less expensive than the cheapest ticket that you can get for seating for the Chicago Street Race. Now again, that was both days, and I think it technically includes entry into the concerts both days too, which I didn't care for. I wasn't going to stick around for the concerts anyway. So that didn't really partake any interest in me. There were package deals that I could have done for like $500, $600 where you got grandstand seating and then it also paid for your hotel room, but it only paid for the hotel room for the Saturday night. So if you got there, on Friday to stay all day Saturday, you'd still have to get a hotel probably somewhere else in the city, and it was jacked up on price because it's 4th of July weekend. So I mean, the accommodation, and I only live like 3.5 hours away, so I could have just went Saturday, but I did feel like if I wanted to go, I wanted to go to actually the Cubs game because I've never been to Wrigley Field, and they were playing against Cleveland Friday afternoon, so I would have had to have gotten a hotel for Friday night. And the race is starting at nearly 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That the race won't get over till almost 9, probably between 8:30 and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Sunday. I'm going to have to get a hotel room again Sunday night. I'm not going to be able to get a hotel room I'm not going to be able to just I could drive home. I'd get home at a feasible time, but knowing that I wouldn't get home till 11, midnight-ish, by the way, traffic's probably going to be getting out of there, especially in Chicago. So, downtown Chicago nonetheless. The traffic getting out of there, we were probably going to end up looking at me getting here at like 11 midnight, and that was with me also having to edit video that I took from the racetrack, get the race highlight video updated as quick as possible. That's the main reason why I don't drive home after the race, even if it were to end early, is because I have to upload those videos, so I'd have to go to a hotel nearby immediately after, so I'd get those uploaded within an hour or two after the race. Because the longer they wait, I've noticed nobody watches. Like, I've tried, uploading them the next morning if I went to a night race, and, like, nobody watches them for whatever reason. But if I upload them within a couple hours after the race, they get a ton of views. So it's kind of, I have to do it. I have to, pull an all-nighter in that situation. It wasn't feasible. It wasn't feasible for this weekend. If I were to save up more for it, I definitely would have been able to go, and that's on me. If I would have saved up more. I didn't realize the tickets were as expensive as they were until, I think it was Memorial Day weekend was the first I really looked into tickets for it. And they came down a little, but then over the last couple days it went right back up again. Came down a little on SeatGeek. The cheapest ticket on SeatGeek, I think 3 or 4 days ago, was $230, which is more feasible. It's still for both races, but that doesn't include the hotel. It doesn't include, concert, which I didn't care for. That doesn't include parking either. That was one thing with the ticket that you would have bought. I think it would have accommodated for parking as well. So at least, there was that on there, but if I would have bought it off of SeatGeek for $200 less, I would have had to pay for parking, and God knows how much that would have been for 3-4 hours in downtown Chicago, 2 days. So that's why. That's why I didn't go, in a nutshell, for this weekend. And I made the decision not to go Thursday night, kind of Friday morning-ish. And I should have let you guys know just a little bit in advance. So I apologize for not letting you know until earlier this morning. So that's my fault in that. But there will be a live commentary stream for the Xfinity and the Cup races this weekend for Chicago. We'll still have fun watching it. I'm sure it's going to be a spectacle. That was the main reason I was wanting to go. It's just nothing like that had ever been done for NASCAR's sake. It would have been cool to witness it. And it's a city I'd at least been to before. I hadn't been to that area of the city, so that would have been unfamiliar territory. But I've been through Chicago before. I went to Chicagoland Speedway back in 2019 as well, which is south of Chicago. But you can see the city from where I was entering in on the turnpike before I branched off to head towards Chicagoland Speedway. Never actually like stopped, got out, you know, looked at the city or anything in the city. It was just for my car a couple times. So nobody, under caution it looks like, first time today, lap 23, our first caution of the year, it's 499 is out. And Denny Hamlin has crashed hard. Hard and violent crash for Denny Hamlin in the 11 as he is upside down. Looked like, I don't know if he blew a right front tire. I mean, it looked like he blew a right front, just went straight up the hill. It didn't get loose. His car went straight up the hill, into the wall, and we are under caution. Mark Martin will pit. We will take 4 tires and fuel, and if they all stay out, you know, then no big deal for us because we have such a fast race car. We'll go from the back to the front again if we need. Mark DeMar's Earl Arnold Jr. Mike George, Alan Barkley, thanks for tuning in also. Sorry I haven't shouted out too many people in the stream yet. Thank you all for watching. Saturday afternoon. Patrick Shadley, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I get a ticket or a discount for tickets for like anywhere or for Chicago this weekend. Is it like a military discount or something like that? Curious. Well, good for him either way. Green flag back in the air, lap 27. Mark Martin won the race off of pit road. Everybody came down during the lap 23 caution, and we are back to green flag racing once again. As Mark Martin retains the lead, Elliott Sadler is now in second. Looks like Joe Nemechek up to third. We'll see with a giant pack here how Mark Martin is going to be able to try to hold on to the lead as they get up to speed. You're almost a sitting duck when you're the leader on single file restarts in the super speedways back in this day. How about Michael Waltrip, who started back around Mark Martin? He's already in the top 5. Drove his way through half the field and then got the other half back on pit road moments ago. And they're 3 wide for the race lead off turn 4 through the tri-oval. And it will be Elliott Sadler leading his first lap of the day, getting 5 bonus points at the line. Now we're Talladega racing, ladies and gentlemen. Nemechek back down to the bottom. Martin finds himself 3 wide middle again. Kyle Busch trying to squeeze into the middle. Caution's out on the back straightaway. There is a crash. Our second yellow, there is a crash on the backstretch, and that might have been the big one. Tony Raines oh, that was the big one. Oh my goodness. It looked like there was a catastrophe there in the middle of the pack. Tony Raines gets clobbered by Kevin Harvick. A couple other cars around. The 109 slid sideways into the 66. Paul Menard had to jump out of line late there. Our second caution of the race. Flag back in the air. I tried a standing start that time. I wanted to see if that was going to work out a little better. I figured with no lap cars on the inside, there was a chance that could have worked out. Look at the gap Martin's got now. That actually worked. I never tried that before in these EA games. I don't think I've ever tried that. It was something I was just thinking of there. I was like, okay, if we're going to get the go, I'm going to wait. I'm going to just kind of let out, look at the rearview mirror, and then go. And see if that helps us try to hold on to the lead. It looks like it actually is. So when you're the leader, you don't want to lose the lead on the restart of the EA Sports games on the Super Speedway. There you go. Joe Nemechek to the outside. He gets into the wall. Might have had a chance to lead his first lap if he didn't do that, but he did. Martin's relatively clear. So we had a flip with Denny Hamlin lap 23, and then as they were getting up to speed on the backstretch, the lap and a half after the restart, then a lap 28 caution. We had About a 5 or 6 car wreck. Did get an upset winner in this race, obviously. It is Talladega after all. I think Joe Nemechek won, that'd be an upset win. Especially with that 0-1 team. Sadler is almost clear off turn 4. Mark Martin stayed right there with him. Into the tri-oval now. Door to door. Sadler leads again. By inches at the line that time. Kyle Busch is in contention. Dale Jarrett, teammate of Elliott Sadler, up there. I think Bobby Labonte's in line on the bottom behind Ryan Newman in the 12. Caution again on the backstretch. Our third yellow already at Talladega. Back-to-back-to-back cautions, all within about an 11-lap stretch. And it looks like it's debris, and it's off the 66 of Jeff Green. So debris bringing out another caution. Might have been his hood, might have been the front bumper. Whatever the case, under yellow again. Looks like Case Cade's got damage in there. There's quite a few cars that damage. I saw Tony Raines' back bumper was pretty well crinkled from that big accident we just saw in the back straightaway before. Yeah, Newman fourth of points. He's got 2 wins already. He's trying to go for 4 top 5s in a row. Lap 38, green flag back in the air. Can't do the standing start this time. It's Elliott Sadler who leads. As we get to green, and we're under caution again. Another quick debris yellow. And Martin was looking to the inside into turn 1 for the lead. Couldn't get there. More debris off Jeff Green's race car. That time the front bumper came off. So it must have been like the left front fender or something that came off before that. Wow. That 66 car is beat up. Remember, Jeff Green was top 10 in points through like the first 6 races, and he fell off the face of the earth. We kind of figured he wasn't going to keep that speed up for the entire season with the equipment and that race team. But he was off to kind of a good start. Had a couple top 10s early out of nowhere, and I thought he was going to be the Mike Bliss for NASCAR 05, but it doesn't seem like that'll be the case. Restart, lap 42, green flag back in the air again. Looking to the bottom, Sadler threw a late block there on Mark Martin. It looks like he's going to be able to hold clear. Martin able to hang on in front of everybody else. Sadler's getting way too far out ahead. And then also there's a slow car at the very back of the field working his way off of turn 2 right now, so somebody is slow on the restart. Elliott Sadler. Does he have like 8 gears in that thing? I mean, he's got to be over a second ahead off turn 4 on the restart here. But once these guys get up to speed, even 2 and 3 wide, you would imagine they're going to end up catching. 1.2 seconds ahead. That's insane. So 4 cautions in these first 43 laps. We had, what, 8 cautions in our truck race at Talladega, 94? And we had 3 or 4 yellows in those final 30 laps. Martin quicker than Sadler that last lap, no surprise. It does look like the 6 is kind of pulling away too, though. That car is still limping his way all the way around the track, by the way. We never caught him. So whoever that is down a cylinder. They must have blew an engine or have severe damage from that wreck. One or the other. We'll get him in a lap or 2. Even without much help. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, we won't catch him doing that. Didn't make any adjustment changes during that first stop. Didn't feel that I needed to. I mean, with how fast it is, you almost don't want to make any adjustment changes. And the pit crew was fast too. I mean, we won the race out of the pits. Pit crew's on it, at least 1 for 1 today. All these cautions coming out, it's going to push the fuel window a little longer in the second run as well. Granted, we did end up pitting lap 23-ish with that first caution, so we didn't really go long. It doesn't look like we're going to have that same glitch we did in the Truck Series race where we're going to be pitting every 13, 14 laps or so. So that's nice. By the way, we are not really catching Sadler. I thought for a minute we were going to. That doesn't really seem to be the case anymore. Spun out without bringing the yellow. I mean, that's possible, I guess. Wonder if it's going to be a slow car that could hold Sadler up as well and get the rest of this pack back into it again. I think now is going to be a good time to get that first field pass out of the race today while things kind of strung out here off this last restart at the front. It's like we're faster than everybody else behind us, but Sadler out of nowhere really took off on that restart. He was putting more of a fight to Martin as well. With these cautions coming out than what we had seen from Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, or Jimmy Johnson in those first 23 laps before the caution came out. So Sadler's starting to lead a ton all of a sudden. We'll swap back to Matt Kenseth, who is in the 11th place position. Riding in line behind Bobby Labonte. Passes Labonte through turns 1 and 2. Massive run behind Dale Jarrett right now. 200 miles an hour at Talladega for diving off to the bottom. Way too low that time. That was a big mistake. You want to talk about being aggressive. That was aggressive right there. Way too low getting into the corner. Contact slightly with his former teammate Kurt Busch. Kenseth's on the outside. Yeah, I thought I was fast in the early going, and Elliott Sadler seems to be even quicker. Power those Fords in the super speedway today. Something about those Roush ATM engines. I think they were mergered at this time. The engine department. Pretty sure they were. Walk around Kurt. Mark Martin got held up by the slow car up here, and oh boy, it's Jeff Gordon. Oh boy, that almost caused a wreck. Oh, it nearly did again. Down the backstretch, Dale Jr. tags Gordon. Right after we tagged him. Well, we didn't tag Gordon, we tagged Earnhardt. That almost set off the big one again. So problems for Jeff Gordon in the 24. And he is the slow car on the track, and he jacked everybody out there. Except for Elliott Sadler, who was all alone at the front of the field anyway. It was easy for him to get by the 24. I mean, 7th on back is nowhere to be found. Dale Jr. was working his way up there until that happened. All right, well, back to Jamie McMurray. He's in 25th. He's pretty far separated from some of the other drivers in front of him. He's got Brian Vickers and Kyle Petty right behind him. Yeah, Dale Jr. and Michael Waltrip looking fast. Got Waltrip in a Dodge. Dale Jr. looking quick for DEI at Talladega, per usual. Had to assume he was going to be a contender today. Problem for Mark Martin, there's no teammates up there anywhere close to him to work with. Kenseth was in 7th, but when the pack got split up there, he's just a few positions behind him. Jamie McMurray, you see here in 25th. I think Greg Biffle somewhere in between where Kenseth and McMurray are running. We're getting a little bit of a draft off of Scott Riggs. He's side by side with another car to his inside. Oh, big block by that 178 on Riggs. Riggs checked up quite a bit in the middle of the corner there. Murray will drive around him to the inside. Pass both of them down to the bottom. So common occurrence, we're going to be catching Jeff Gordon probably every 8 laps, give or take. So instead of having to pit every 13 to 14 laps like in the truck race, we're going to have to miss Jeff Gordon every 8 laps or so in the pack, which is going to be a whole lot of fun. Not for me, at least. There's Jeff Green, who's still in with severe damage. Surprised he's still hanging around in 23rd with the damage, to be completely honest. One more lap and then we'll swap to Biffle. Couldn't pass him on the outside. But not as strong as his teammate Mark Martin. He's going to bump draft Jeff Green all the way down the backstretch. Even into turns 3 and 4. Luckily he hit him square. Last thing Jeff Green needs is another accident for himself. And now the lane was open off of turn 4 to get to the inside. 26 will pass the 66. And we will swap to Greg Biffle in that 16 car. Who, as mentioned, is a little bit up ahead of McMurray. 13th place is where Biffle runs right now. So block on him into the outside off turn 2. Michael Waltrip is going back to 15th on this restart. Sadler falls out of the loop blowing an engine as fast as he seems. That wouldn't surprise me. We've got a ridiculously fast car with Mark Martin in this race too, though. Hopefully we'll be alright.
Number 7, coming back on the track. Watch out, buddy. He's going to be a little slow.
So it sounds like Robbie Gordon is going to return to this race after an engine failure earlier as well. Similar to what we're seeing with Jeff Gordon. So we're not going to have just one, we're going to have 2 slow cars on the racetrack. And it seems as if they're going to be fairly evenly spaced apart too. Big run for Biffle back straight over to the inside of Johnson. Mayfield didn't even think about going down to try to block. He was worried about the 48. Didn't see the 16 coming underneath both of them. So to the outside. Ran out of some steam. Gets back down to the bottom in front of Mayfield. contact between the 43 and the 16 there. Still the fastest lap Biffle's ran today, even with that being said. Jarrett moves down in front of the 16. And Biffle now to push the 88. So many Fords up here. 3 Roush cars, 2 Robert Yates Fords make up 5 of the top 9. Middle of the corner on the outside at a bumpy Talladega. Biffle was still bump drafting Dale Jarrett most of the way through that corner. And same goes into the tri-oval on the outside as well. He's hitting him square. Now he lifts. Settles himself back in line again. Couple more pushes to that 88. Still all the way through 1 and 2 on the outside. He is trying to tag him, but Biffle's car got a little tight. They're closing. I believe Tony Stewart is this next car up in front of both the 88 and the 16. Biffle moving down. I believe Jarrett. He'll move to 6th. Now he'll leave Stewart going to the inside for 5th place. Kenseth must have made his way up and caught the rest of that other pack. Biffle clear into P7 on the pole sitter, and we will drive as Mark Martin once again. Martin remains in 2nd, just caught Jeff Gordon. Kyle Busch, Matt Kenseth, Kurt Busch, Joe Nemechek in this group. Elliott Sadler's just not getting ran down at all. All on his own, dominating right now. $1,000 for the best seat. Yeah, it was pretty much right around there. Well, yeah, for the like grandstand area, there were some suites that were like $3,000 on the main straightaway right around pit road. But you'll see suites for that a lot of other tracks too, though. Not actual race tickets, though. That's the crazy thing. Sadler is catching up to Robbie Gordon, who's the other slow car on the racetrack. Matt Kenseth's made his way up. Sadler still stuck behind Gordon. Here comes Mark Martin. It's one way to slow the 38 car down, a little bit of help from the 7. So both got 2 guys with the last name Gordon, no relation. Robbie Gordon, Jeff Gordon are slowing the packs up constantly. And it has allowed Mark Martin to retake the lead at lap 62 away from Elliott Sadler. A little bit before they catch Jeff Gordon again. We're getting closer to green flag pit stops, which will be coming up very, very soon. A lot easier to block Sadler when he's by himself. A little harder for him to get a run versus having a pack of cars like he was able to pass Mark Martin the first 2 times he got around. Trying to get as many laps led as possible to get that extra 10-point bonus. He's got the 5-point bonus just like Sadler already. They both like quite a few laps in the early going. And definitely looked like the 2 fastest cars in the early going as well. We had quite a few drivers hit pit road that last time by. And Mark Martin pits. It is more than likely going to be a fuel-only stop. Martin will stay out this time by. He will pit at lap 64. So Martin will not pit that time. He will wait 1 more lap and then hit the pits the next time by, just in case we get a caution for the 5th time today. couple of Martin's teammates came into the pits that last lap. Both Jamie McMurray and Greg Biffle are in. Matt Kenseth's still out there. And still in the third place position. So Martin coming in this time. On his way to pit road off turn 4. Heavy braking, but try not to lock the tires up. He has to, and he still sped. Oh my goodness. Pit road speeding penalty. We did the same thing. Same exact thing happened in the truck race with Todd Bodine. Happens in the first green flag stop of this cup race at Talladega. That one was a little bit more obvious of speeding though. I think Bodine was 2 miles per hour over the limit earlier in the week, but here today it looks like Mark Martin was about 8 miles per hour over the limit. So if you'll only stop, it's going to cost the 6 quite a bit of time. It's a 13.7 second stop. It could have been much quicker, obviously, if there wasn't that 5-second penalty. It would have been about 8.7 seconds instead. He came in right in front of Kurt Busch. He's going to cycle out right in front of him, but he's also going to have other tires, with that being said as well. A little bit of smoke on the bottom of the racetrack here. Turn 1. No caution though, we do stay green. Sandler's still on the racetrack. With going fuel only, at least Mark Martin will remain on the lead lap if we were to get a caution in the middle of green flag stops. Matt Kenseth passed and could have worked with him against Sadler. That's true. I didn't really think about that. Too late now. Dale Jr. Kyle Busch. I think this is Matt Kenseth in the 17 just up ahead, who's trying to get up to speed on the backstretch. Martin trying to draft off of him a little bit before going back to the outside. Man, this is sad. We went fuel only and we're only coming out this far ahead of everybody. Elliott Sadler's going to be interesting, though, because he was right there with Mark Martin. He's going to be the closest to trying to be able to get the lead following these green flag pit stops, other than, of course, the 6 who's out in front right now. We will alternate through the different camera angles for the first time today. 4th place is where Martin runs. There's Joe Nemechek, Tony Stewart, and Elliott Sadler, the race leader, just up ahead as he's trying to get up to speed off turn 2. Here comes the 6 who went down to try to draft behind him before pulling up. And Mark Martin will cycle back to the race lead, coming up on one of the slow cars here, probably on the front stretch this time by. I believe it'll be Jeff Gordon first. By the way, Greg Biffle's still on pit road. I think he might have had an engine issue, potentially. There's Gordon. A lot easier for Mark Martin to pass him, or he's got nobody else to deal with. We'll see if Sadler can run down to 6 because he's got fresher tires, which is going to matter maybe a little more at this bumpy Talladega surface. Car down to the bottom of the racetrack. One of the fantasy drivers at 144. Thought he was going to try to merge himself back onto the track there. He did not. And here's Robbie Gordon just up ahead in the triangle. I think Jeff Gordon might have held up 38 car just a little bit more. Robbie Gordon down on the bottom of the racetrack, going to move to the outside. Mark Martin is there already. 1.7 second lead for Mark Martin. Biffle's out, down to 2 more Roush teammates, Jamie McMurray and Matt Kenseth. I can say this race is definitely not playing out in any way that I could have thought it was going to play out, which is the same as what I could have said for a truck race here. Actually, the truck race was more predictable because we knew that going into the race, so if that was going to be a likelihood to happen. Thought it could have happened again here today with the short pit window, but that isn't the case. And the Cup Series in this game seems to only be a Truck Series problem at Talladega in this game and a couple other tracks with the Truck Series as well. Sadler was way quicker, about 4/10 quicker than Mark Martin that last lap. So no surprise, that 38 car back to being the fastest on track again. Brandon Martinez, thanks for tuning in. One other car not that far behind Sadler as well. So they're barely clinging on into that draft. It looks like it might be a blue car. I think it could be Kurt Busch in the 2. Maybe wrong on that, but it looks like it may be Kurt. Gosh, I was looking at the chat. Oh my goodness, I was almost in the grass. I did not stay in the gas either. Moved back up for whatever reason. Sorry, Sadler's going to get to me anyway. He was that much quicker. Try to block him enough we could slow him down and then go from there. And that is Kurt Busch in the 2. Man, I got a good eye. As far back as he was in that tiny rearview mirror at the top of the screen with these 2006 graphics on a gaming console that's 3 generations old. Sadler to the bottom for the lead. Kurt Busch went with him. No chance for Mark Martin to hang on there. Mark did block Kurt though. He moved down in time, and his 38 car of Elliott Sadler trying to block down to the inside. A little bit of contact between these 2 cars as they get into turns 3 and 4. Kurt went with the 6 this time. Seems as if Mark Martin will lead this lap at the line as well. Again, the laps led category between Sadler and Martin is pretty tight in this race. Martin clips the apron getting into 1. Shot him way up the hill. And now it's Kurt Busch who's trying to take his first lead of the afternoon. 6 going to side draft the mill on the backstretch. As he does that, Sadler's going to go to the outside. Martin back up to the high lane to try to block the 38 again. Mark Martin's got slightly older tires here. Slow car back down to the bottom of the racetrack again. Another win for Mark Martin. And again, he is clear for the race lead. Kurt Busch did not receive 5 bonus points for leading his first lap that last time by. Kurt checked up at the 144, moving up off the apron a little bit. I don't know why he is as slow as he is off the track. Maybe he had an engine issue, much like Gordon, both the Gordons, Robbie Gordon and Jeff Gordon earlier. Kyle Busch 18 wins at 100. I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. Kenseth, by the way, with that 38 car. No Chevys up towards the front of the field. A couple we have seen having engine issues. 144 got bumped into the apron and running off the pace because of it. Yeah, that could be it. I've seen that in this game. It seems to only happen in the super speedways. Running just as slow though too as Gordon and Gordon. They're both down a cylinder. Sounds like a law firm, Gordon and Gordon. Heard of Morgan and Morgan, we've got Gordon and Gordon. It's got to be a car accident law firm too, just because it's a NASCAR race. That would only make sense. Sadler and Kenseth trying to catch Mark Martin. This ain't happening right now. Tell you what, this is probably the most spread out Talladega race I think we've seen on these EA Sports games to date. That's why in the heat of it, that's why we're going through the field passes and the alternating of the camera angles now, so that way if it gets clumped together again later, we don't have to worry about it. We're still in the first half of this race. Lap 80. We're going to be halfway before we know it. And we're catching up on those two slow cars of Robbie Gordon and Jeff Gordon again here very soon. And they're going to be nearly nose to tail this time around on the front stretch. To the outside. Kurt Busch backing out of the way. I realize Jeff Gordon's a rival of us. Can you imagine if he just tries to take us out? Just hooks us 190 miles an hour running as slow as he is. So Kurt Busch got by Robbie Gordon very easily. So did Elliott Sadler, it looks like, back there. But then Jeff Gordon held them both up while Sadler and Busch were side by side. So right back to a decent-sized gap for Mark Martin all of a sudden. I mentioned the more spaced-out Talladega race, the super speedway race in general in this game that we've seen, maybe ever. And that's part of the problem, is both the Gordons on the racetrack, and they were evenly spread apart. Not the case anymore. They were very condensed that time. And then you got this guy down at the bottom of the track and runs the grass in the tri-oval, and he moves back up the racetrack, getting into the corners. He doesn't go all the way up. He just kind of uses the bottom most of the way through the corner. Tell you what though, this 6 car's hooked up. I think as long as the 38 of Elliott Sadler stays in this race, and as long as we don't get into any sort of an issue where we have quite a bit of damage on the race car, both cars are going to be ridiculously fast. I mean, they're going to be so tough to beat. Kurt Busch didn't really give himself a great chance to try to pass Mark Martin. He had a better chance when Elliott Sadler was there and they would follow each other. He was able to make his way around. Even if he was the second car in line behind Sadler, he couldn't really make a major move to try to get a pass on him. The 6 will be able to move down right behind the 38. Almost as if the 2 couldn't keep up with the 38 even. When will I go back to doing throwback streams? Hopefully this week. Yeah, hopefully this week. I do want to do like a week-long throwback Thursday kind of stream or throwback, week stream, so we can get caught up on the fact that I haven't done it the last like 5 or 6 races. So we would go like a week without the video game stuff, and then we would do that, and then we'd just be caught up with both. So I do want to go back to those missed weeks. Got to watch an old North Wilkesboro race. I think we still have to watch the 2003 Darlington race too. That Instant Classic, and then Coke 600. I don't know what I was going to do for the Gateway race. I don't know if I was going to watch an old, Gateway like Busch or truck race or something. Sonoma. Something in place of Nashville, maybe an old Nashville Super Speedway race. In the Busch or Truck Series as well. Even mid-corner speed, holding about 190, 191 all the way through the corner. 192 on entry. I mean, that just goes to show how fast we are. We're only dropping a mile an hour or 2 in the corners without draft. Standing on the gas. Just hold that wheel as steady as we can. The more we jerk the wheel back and forth, the slower the speed's going to be in the corner. Like that wasn't quite as steady, so we're more at 190 most of the way instead of 191. Because there was that movement. It's just hard with these bumps. It does give the car more of a floaty feel, even though I mentioned at the beginning it didn't feel like it felt like it was more planted to the racetrack. That was also dirty air in the draft versus having the clean air. It does feel like it kind of bounces around a little bit more. Obviously you'll have that. It's explanatory why that would be the case.
The 2 car is going low.
Well, Kurt Busch trying to get back in it again. Kurt went to the top. I just stayed on the bottom, and yeah, he didn't have enough speed to just get around me. Kurt Busch does not have that good of a car. Now, Elliott Sadler is leading himself and Matt Kenseth up here again, so that's not a shocker. It's going to be a great battle between the 38 and the 6 in the second half of this race. Two undoubtedly the quickest cars this entire race to this point. That's even through 2 stops.
Number 2 is gaining on you.
Mark Martin's managed his tires so well as well. Not having a whole lot of errant movement. No major moments. He's had to make miraculous saves or anything that have squat the rubber off the tires a little more as well. I mean, if Sadler gets close enough to Kurt Busch, could work together. Right? Mark Martin just ran his fastest lap of the race while leading. Not even in the draft. In front of him, at least. Obviously had Kurt Busch drafting behind him most of that lap. And even on the straightaways, not so much. Sounds like Kurt may be there. And spotter got to call clear in the middle of the corner, right front. It's starting to wear out a little bit more now. Up to block on the outside is Mark Martin on Kurt Busch. Felt a little bit more pressure that time than what he had prior to that. Robbie Gordon coming up again, though, as Kurt Busch challenges for the lead. Jeff Gordon soon after. The track goes Martin. Kurt Busch to the inside. He tried to pick Mark Martin behind Robbie Gordon. It almost worked. It's like Matt Kenseth got held up. So did Elliott Sadler. Martin and Kurt Busch were clear to the bottom. I think Kurt let the 6 in at the last second. Either that, or the 6 had just enough of a draft up the 7 before moving to the bottom that he was clear of the 2. That was the closest Kurt Busch has been to taking the lead this entire run. And we still have Jeff Gordon to deal with here shortly. Another car just after Jeff Gordon. There might be somebody else that blew an engine. Kurt staying in the draft. He's, oh boy, Jeff Gordon moving down. I forgot he was a rival. Well, he moved down at the last second. 6 had plenty of room to go lower, and he did. And the 2 trying to stay with Mark Martin as long as he can, leading up into green flag pit stops. I think this might be just a normal lap car up here. I don't think it's a slow car because the 6 and the 2 probably would have caught him by now, knowing their speed. JC1424, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I was keeping up with the Xfinity practice earlier and watched the start of their qualifying in that first session. Shane Van, top of the charts, though. That's cool. He qualifies up there. Could you imagine? I mean, that's kind of unthinkable that somebody could win in their first career Cup start. I mean, let's just remember, though, we got to pump the brakes on it a little bit, because Jordan Taylor was top 5 in practice at COTA, and I think he qualified top 5 as well, or top 10. And he ran outside the top 20 most of that race. I think he got up to, I think he ended up with a top 20 finish, but he wasn't running quite as good as he started off the weekend once the intensity ramped up during the race. The only thing with this is that it's so new, it's so tight, and so different for a lot of these Cup drivers that they're probably going to be more hesitant early, but once they get halfway through the race, they're going to get a feel for where they can push it, where they can't. And the strategy of, you know, these bigger teams is probably going to be a little bit better, you'd have to imagine, too, than where he's racing for this weekend.
The 2 cars that look at the tag.
Would that not be the typical up front, you know, every week race car?
The 41 car, clear, all clear.
So Reed Sorensen going to go a lap down. And we will be officially halfway home at the start-finish line this time by. Four cautions in this race, all in an 11-lap stretch between laps 23 and 34. We have not had a caution since the lap 34 restart, which was at lap 37. And we have gone almost 60 laps since the last caution, which is unbelievable because the pace we had earlier, I thought we were going to have like 15 plus cautions, but it has really settled down quite a bit. Martin going all the way to the apron, trying to get a drive. That did not work out well as I thought it was going to. I got loose as soon as I drove down there, even on the straightaway. I didn't think it was going to happen in the straightaway. I stayed in the gas though. That was just enough to keep the momentum up. Kurt Busch still going to sit behind the 6 of Mark Martin. Martin will pit this time by lap 96 at the line. I might stay out one more lap. It depends on who all comes in this time, because I wasn't one of the first cars to pit that first stop. Although we've led pretty much this entire run though, so I haven't been able to save quite as much gas. I don't see anybody coming in yet. We're going to go one more lap. We're going to go to lap 97 and then I'm going to pit. I'm not going to go after that though. I don't want to risk running out, especially here. Never going to make it back to pit road depending on what side of the track I'll be on. With how spaced out this thing is, we can't afford to take too big of a risk, and it'll end up costing us. And it will be very difficult to get back up here, even though we have speed in the race car. A little bit of help, obviously. This style of racing goes a long way. Midway point of the race, Mark Martin dominating, Kurt Busch staying with him every step of the way, just trying to stay in contention as Kurt. Not quite as fast as the 38. The 38 has been the only one competitive enough on speed to outduel the 6, especially one-on-one like this. We're going to go right side tires only. Left front just starting to wear out now, and Kurt Busch will pit with Mark Martin. Martin trying not to speed this time. Didn't go in quite as hard as Kurt Busch because he didn't want to speed. Right sides only, no adjustments. Kurt Busch trying to get into his box. And that's going to stall out the 6 a little bit as he had to brake and let him in. The 6 underneath the 2 when they came side by side on the pit road. Good job by Kurt Busch trying to outbrake Mark Martin. But Martin had that pit road speeding penalty earlier, so we didn't want to do that again. So in the second green flag stop, you get away with that once, not twice. And even with going right sides only, Kurt Busch with a 4-tire stop will cycle out ahead of the 6. He does not lead his first lap of the race, though, because Tony Stewart and the top 20 still haven't pit yet. 6 trying to get around the 2 here on the apron as they get up to speed side by side in the middle of the corner. Passed him on the apron, getting up to speed at Talladega. Unbelievable. That's one way to get back around him. So weird how I'm faster getting up to speed under green than what I am under caution or for a restart in this game, especially on the super speedways. He might have checked up and let us go when I got underneath him too. I really don't know how sensitive the AI would be in that situation in this game. Oh, we got a lot of smoke there. Kyle Busch leads his first lap. Jeff Gordon in the 24 just up ahead. Martin trying to get a draft off of him. Our lap car, David Stremme in the number 40 just up. Looks like Kyle Busch going to stay out at least one more lap.
This road's getting busy. Leaders ahead, man. Come on the track, Wes. It'll work with you.
One more spots picked up there for Mark Martin. He'll be in P4. Top 3 still have to pit. Kyle Busch is on his way in this time by. Jimmy Johnson actually already pitted. That was past for position.
Let's get out there and lead this thing, buddy.
And I think Elliott Sadler is just up ahead, and we are under caution. If that was Sadler, he's going to be out in front of Mark Martin, and that was a perfect timing caution for him. Looks like the yellow will be for debris. Our 5th caution of the race, our 3rd for debris, and our first caution in over 60 laps here in the Aaron's 499. So Martin will be the leader. It was not Elliott Sadler. There's Jamie McMurray, a lap down on the restart. Green flag back in the air. So that caution in the middle of green flag stops did track quite a few cars a lap down still. Green flag back in the air. Nowhere near as many cars a lap down in this one as what we saw in the truck race here. Somebody else slow on the restart as well. Well, Martin's got a teammate up towards the front, but not on the lead lap. Nevertheless, it's a teammate. We'll see how this will work itself out. Once again, that was our 5th caution of the day.
Still hanging on. Second up.
Martin will lead this lap at the line. Truex a lap down as well. Elliott Sadler in 2nd. Going from 4th to 2nd on the restart in the first lap. It's on the outside of a 3-wide battle in the turn 1 with Tony Stewart and Kurt Busch underneath. Stewart driving his way up that bottom lane on that double yellow line.
The 20 car is moving up on you quick.
Caution again, our 6th of the race. Turns 1 and 2. We'll back her back down, stack everything up again. Another debris caution. This one off the 144. He's been slow for a while. Looks like he's back up to speed in the pack now. Casey Kane's without a hood. Not sure where he lost that. Got a few damaged cars at the back of the pack. Harvick's back there too. Flag back in the air, and I think Jamie McMurray got the free pass in that 26 car, if I'm not mistaken. So McMurray back on the lead lap. Good caution for him. So he's the first car a lap down. Lap 111 restart. After a 6th caution, our 4th yellow for debris in this race. Jeff Burton was the first car lap down on the restart.
129 car is coming up quick.
Couple of them going low. Lap car to the inside of Mark Martin. Couple of them. Oh, the lead lap car staying wide. Oh boy, that was a quick clearance by the 42. Almost caused a bobble up crash. Jimmy Johnson almost went in the middle 3 wide between Mark Martin and David Blaney. Blaney goes up to try to block. If we get another quick caution, these few cars that got around Martin will be back on the lead lap. Blaney would have gotten a free pass, but that isn't the case anymore. Martin cleared. Moves to the outside. That was a slight mistake there. Bunt drafting the 149 before going to the bottom into turn 3 and passing him to put him a lap down again. Well, the rate we're going at, we should see more cautions of what we had in the truck race. I mean, to have 6 to this point, we had 8 in the trucks. Looking fairly good in that retrospect. Had 3 pit stops to this point, probably 2 more to get us to the end of the race yet. Also remember, during that green flag stop, Mark Martin took right side tires only. Those left sides have been on the car for each of the last 2 stints. He went fuel only, first green flag stop, second green flag stop, right sides only. So those left sides definitely got a little bit of wear on them. Tony Stewart hasn't really been up in contention for the race lead since very early when he started on the pole, led the first 8 laps, 7-8 laps or so. Now he's trying to get back up here with Mark Martin. So he's weaseled his way towards the front. Solid race to this point for Mark. He's the one to beat. Elliott Sadler fell behind a little bit more on this restart. The one before he got a couple spots, this one he lost at least a few. I thought the 178 name said Duck. No, it's Quick. G Quick. Duck. Amazing how quickly those lap cars fell back, though. Had that good launch on the inside, but that was it. Yeah, I see Newman up there with Jimmy Johnson. It's just like the start of the race all over again. Martin, Stewart, Newman, and Johnson. These were the 4 of those first 23 laps before the Denny Hamlin flip. And then after that, we hadn't really seen any of these other 3 until now. It was all Sadler and Martin, and now we're back at it. Kurt Busch obviously was in contention, never actually led any laps, unfortunately, while he was up here, so he's going to have to try to get back up here again.
The 20 car making his move, left side.
I haven't had chicken nuggets in a long time. I couldn't tell you the last time I had a chicken nugget. I never really cared to get them, like even growing up, I I never really cared, like, if I ever had, like, a Happy Meal at McDonald's, I'd always want the cheeseburger. I never really wanted chicken nuggets. I feel like that's a sacrilegious thing to say if you were a kid, but not that, I mean, I do like them. I just, they weren't my go-to option. Always liked burgers better, even as a kid. Yeah, Johnson definitely in third. And he just won our Southern 500, so he's trying to go for back-to-back wins. How about two big races to get back-to-back wins? Southern 500 at Darlington, and then Talladega. And Elliott Sadler's right there pushing him. Ryan Newman not able to keep up. So again, it's that 38 car trying to lead Jimmy Johnson into the charge to get up here. Sadler pulls to the inside, trying to get by Johnson. Sadler, obviously no help with Newman falling by the wayside a little bit there. Halfway out of gas this point in the fuel run. And Robbie Gordon and Jeff Gordon will be coming up this lap. Tony Stewart trying to get to the inside of Mark Martin, just couldn't do it that time. Kyle Petty in the 45, also slow. Stewart got held up. Johnson goes up to second place. Looks like Sadler may get to third, and Tony Stewart got hung out to dry. So Kyle Petty and Jeff Gordon will be this next one. So we're down to 3 cars that are down to cylinder after engine issues earlier in the race. Look at how far back they fell. Jeff Gordon trying to block for his teammate Jimmy Johnson there. Mark Martin gonna get his way through. Johnson looks like he's gonna have to back up with his teammate away in the middle of 1 and 2. Mark Martin's pulling away here. We're gonna take our second and final field pass of the race when we get to the start-finish line this time by. Massive lead for the 6 after the holdup from the slow cars on the racetrack. Nobody was really able to gang up and get a run on it.
Okay, buddy, let's do it. Number 14.
I feel like Dale Jr. in this race, the way this thing has gone so far. How fast we are. Matt Kenseth in 9th place. He was in the top 5 earlier, not really the case anymore. No way of being able to save any sort of fuel for Greg Biffle being out where he's at. I guess Kenseth's leading his pack as well. Harvick back inside the top 10, assuming he's on the lead lap. Quite a bit of damage on the front of his race car. It looks like there's quite a bit of a scuff mark on the left rear corner panel of the 17 car, Matt Kenseth as well. This restart, though, Mark Martin out in front, it's almost similar to the lead that Elliott Sadler had on an earlier restart in this race. of interesting seeing them do the same thing. And it was a slow lap car that got in Sadler's way, which allowed for Martin to take the lead, and he hasn't really looked back since. Other than in the middle of green flag stops, we saw a handful of other drivers finally lead their first laps. That's been most of the lead changes in this race has been during green flag pit stops. A few of them on the track here and there, and that's about it. Mostly between the 38 and the 6 and nobody else. And obviously the 20 to the 6 early. Once Tony Stewart lost the lead, he hasn't led a lap since. Other than, again, green flag pit stops. Because I do think he did have a couple of them. That first set we had, he led quite a few laps. Second set, it was more Kyle Busch and a couple others. Running outside into turns 3 and 4 here. Gonna stay on the gas. Trying to, like Kevin Harvick, see if he can get a run, get around Kenseth in the draft behind him, because the 17 is just not quite as quick. Gets that back by himself, so he will draft behind Harvick and see these two try to work together for a little bit. They didn't really quite have the bumpers aligned properly that time. A little squirrely out of the 29. He definitely kept it in pace for the most part. I don't think he really hopped out of the gas because Kenseth never lifted. They never really got too hung up on one another. Really trying to get after this group of cars just up ahead. A little bit longer. Kenseth's going to pull out a line on Harvick now. Feels he's close enough to the next pack. Makes the pass for 9th on Harvick. And now trying to close in on Bobby Labonte. Do not think Matt Kenseth has led it all today. But gets some passes down on the bottom of the racetrack. Up to 6th. Martin's got such a massive lead. Kenseth to the outside. What Gigi Neely running in the 4th place position. Right in front of his teammate Tony Stewart. Martin might be getting held up by some of those lap cars further up the way. Elliott Sadler in 3rd. He's going to be braking early. Kenseth to 3rd now as he passes Sadler. Robbie Gordon cutting down the racetrack a bit into the tri-oval. That's going to hold Sadler up as well as those pack of cars further behind. And now the leaders are getting held up ahead. Kenseth's trying to run them down. Kyle Petty in the 45 allowed for Martin to hang on to the lead. But the second place car has now caught the back of that 6. I think it may be Jimmy Johnson in the 48. Yeah, considering that's Bobby Labonte in the 43 and not the 18 too, that's impressive. He's ninth in points through first quarter of the season. Running top 10 in this race here today again as well at Talladega. Leaders will be catching Jeff Gordon next lap. Maybe even in turn 1 upcoming here. Catch him as soon as that. We'll go one more lap with Matt Kenseth, and then we'll drive as Jamie McMurray for about 4 laps and back with Martin for the rest of the race. Got a quarter tank of gas left at this point in the run. They did not catch Gordon yet. Back straightaway though, they will catch him off of turn 2. Kenseth is coming. Trying to get up here with his teammate Jimmy Johnson to the lead. Mark Martin got held up behind the lap car too long. And Jimmy Johnson is now out in front for the first time today at Talladega. Elliott Sadler closing back in on Matt Kenseth again as they close on Jeff Gordon. I would not be surprised, Gordon being a teammate of Jimmy Johnson, that is why he held Martin up. And we'll see if that 48 can win 2 in a row. And to Jamie McMurray we go for 4 laps. 38th is McMurray right now. I thought he got the free pass to get back on the leading lap. And no, he's 2 laps down actually. So I'm not sure what happened to Jamie McMurray, but problems for him. Oh boy. Big block there. Yeah, that was dumb. Wow, if Robbie Gordon was holding up Martin Truex Jr., I thought I could get by Martin quicker than I did. That almost caused a wreck. Oh, and he got back into the 26. That might have been payback. What a save by McMurray. What am I doing? Why did I think I could just go full speed, merging back into the racetrack? That was unbelievable. I think Mark Martin's on pit road for his green flag stop. He was leading quite a few laps at the beginning of this run. So Mark Martin in the pits. Should be the scheduled stop, lap 132. Lap 134 rather, because he's 2 laps down. Remember, Jimmy Johnson didn't really take control of that Darlington race till about the final 50 laps, 50, 60 laps. And there was just no chance for Martin to catch up in that one, finish P2 behind him. And once again, it's Jimmy Johnson in the same situation, trying to take control again. Here's Jeff Gordon. Tokyo Drift action getting by Why do they move around as cars are trying to pass them? Like, they can't just stay in one lane. Like, if you're going to be well off the pace. My goodness. No, it was a green flag stop for Martin. That's why he had the red X that last time. He's back out on the track. He may be a lap down. I'm not entirely sure. We'll go one more lap with McMurray. I'm actually going to pit Jamie Mack this time by. We swapped to Martin afterwards. He drives at 6 for the rest of the race. Green flag stop. Jimmy Johnson's in from the lead. Tony Stewart back out in front temporarily until he pits. Our second to last stops of the day. 4 stops for most of these drivers. Murray on his way in. And it'll be a 4-tire stop for the 2016. Swap to the 26 of McMurray, red X on Martin. Like immediately when that happened? I saw the red X on him, but I figured it was because he was on pit road. Because it's not on him anymore. I think he was the first car to pit. Then next lap we saw everybody else start to come in. Working his way up to speed here. And we'll go back with Mark Martin for the rest of this race. Oh my gosh, Kurt Busch is in the wall. Right as we swapped to Mark Martin, Kurt Busch was in the wall and riding the wall all the way through the exit of turn 2 with Kevin Harvick right behind him. It's a 42 car who was a lap down. Mark Martin is a lap down currently until Tony Stewart pits. Stewart may be on his way in this time, and he is. But Ryan Newman will stay out. I think they're trying to trap the 6 a lap down if we get a caution. I'd assume Martin took 4 tires during that last stop. Oh, trouble! One car upside down right in front of Mark Martin, the race leader. Ryan Newman's in it. I think it might have been Denny Hamlin again. Terrible crash. Right in front of us. And we were able to miss it. And it was Hamlin. 2 flips in 1 race as he gets upended by race leader Ryan Newman. Jeff Burton toppled Hamlin over a second time. And we are under caution again. Martin will pit. He was a lap down when the caution came out. I'm not sure. We're going to go 4 tires and fuel here, but I am not sure if I was in the free pass position or not. That was the weird caution that we did not need in the middle of green flag stops. We had a couple cautions earlier. Obviously, this is our 7th caution of the race, but that was the first during green flag stops today. And that was our 3rd sequence of green flag pit stops in the action. Thought Denny Hamlin was in the hospital after the first flip. That one was even worse for him. Got LePaged. Yeah, I don't know if we were in the free pass position or not. If Hamlin wasn't out of the race before, he's got to be out now. There are very few cars in the lead lap still. I don't know if Mark Martin was one of them. And he is not. We're in the lap car line. 11th place. Actually, we might have gotten the free pass, so we had to restart the tail end of the longest line. I think that's what it was. Green flag lap 143. And yes, so that is exactly what happened. Free pass for Mark Martin. So the 6 is back on the lead lap, but because he got the free pass, he had to restart the tail end of the longest line, so that's why I pitted, just in case. Because I thought it might have been the first car lap down, and that was the case. 11th place, 1 lap down for Mark Martin. Going by all the slower cars there. Jimmy Johnson out in front. That still puts us back in traffic, though. Obviously, we're not in second anymore. And I would not be shocked if we had a debris caution after that, because that was a massive hit. Unless Hamlin's out, which he should be. I thought he was out after the first flip. Glad we missed it. Because we have a bad, fast race car. Last thing I would have needed was to be in a wreck and take all that speed out of the 6, if not take him out of the race entirely. We have not finished outside the top 5 for the first 9 races this season. And we are down to 45 laps to go in this race. Currently in 11th. Johnson trying to win back-to-back. Sad news came out about Jimmy earlier this week, too. I don't think I really mentioned anything about it on the channel. But I mean, at least with the things going on, I mean, look at the silver lining for ourselves. Jimmy Johnson, we won a Busch race with him earlier in the week. And then we had him win the last Cup race, which I had no control over because I wasn't driving as him in the Cup Series. And now he's leading at Talladega. It's been a Jimmy Johnson winning week on the channel in these video game races. That was an aggressive pass to get around the lappers, but I knew I had to get around him. I cleared him with a clean pass, though. That's all that matters. Passed him cleanly. And George, thanks for tuning in. We got a lot of cars up in front. Oh, we got trouble. We got trouble. Major carnage. Martin Hard into the back of his teammate Jamie McMurray there after a near wreck off turn 4, and now all of a sudden Mark Martin has damage to the front of the race car, and that's the dangerous situation being back in the pack at this racetrack. That had to hurt. That was a pretty hard hit. I tried to check up, I just couldn't check up in time. It's too late. We were going way too fast, obviously, knowing the track. Couldn't prepare for that. Will this car still be as quick after that contact? Because it feels a little tighter in the corners than what it did before. I'm not going to lie. We're getting close to the edge of the pit window, too. If we were to get another caution, considering I'm at the tail end of the lead lap, I think I'm going to pit again. We go splash and go on the final stop if we have to make another green flag stop in the race. Especially in this situation. Got stacked up on that few laps after the race started, as you saw there moments ago, and now we're 10.1 seconds off the lead. We were 0.2 slower than Johnson that last lap. And I think that contact with the back of Jamie McMurray did quite a number on the 6 car. Now he's probably going to be a rival with us in the next race. Happens often in NASCAR Thunder 2003. Yeah, I mean, we've seen that in these EA games in the past. We're about 0.2 slower a lap than Jimmy Johnson with no drafting help here, so we're going to have to fall in line, get some drafting help, and we're probably going to need another caution in this race, which I don't doubt we've seen the last one, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm more worried about it having to get through the field. Like, I don't know how we'll make up 10 seconds if it stayed green. But now that we have a little bit of damage to the race car, that's going to make it even harder to just try to drive through the field. Like, we had no problems really doing that earlier. Granted, there was only one time I had to do it, and that was at the very start of the race when we started last. But let's see. Johnson second in points, by the way. won the last race, only gained 5 points with Martin leading the most laps and finishing right behind him in second. This could gain more for Jimmy Johnson. Now, Martin has led the most laps again up to this point. But if Johnson leads to the end of the race, it's not impossible that he could lead the most laps. I do think Mark Martin will still have more than him, but I can't guarantee that. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Coming up on the slow lap cars, we'll definitely have to navigate through them a little quicker. Try to get a couple spots that way. If we do end up having to make a green flag pit stop next, definitely going fuel only. Without a doubt. Definitely have to be ready for those 3 slow cars. Kyle Petty, Robbie Gordon, and Jeff Gordon. Johnson working his way into the tri-oval. It looks like he's going to catch him right around the start-finish line. We'll see if Johnson holds on to the lead as we have 37 laps to go in the Aaron's 499. One car down. Denny Hamlin is still in this race. How is he still in this thing? He has flipped violently twice. And that last one was even more violent than the first one, and he's still in it. He is not on the lead lap, which doesn't surprise me, but how is he still in the race? And how is he not as slow as some of the other cars who are down a cylinder? Even with staying in the race is another good question. And we don't have the answer for it. Other than the fact it's a video game, that's the only semi-logical reasoning for that being the case. Alright, so we gained some time. Now, we haven't really caught those slow cars yet, though. And the only cars we have passed since the restart have been lappers. It looks like there's quite a few drivers getting held up on the backstretch. Martin is hoping he can catch somebody up ahead to try to draft with. It is quicker than the cars that he just passed. He get by Robbie Gordon pretty easily off turn 4. Martin going to gap the cars behind him a little more. Big run. Kyle Petty holding up some cars again. And here comes Mark Martin. Jeff Gordon on the outside. His teammate Brian Vickers is there. Jimmy Johnson stayed through the lead, at least through that transition of the lap traffic. 3 wide off turn 2 for Mark Martin. Underneath Kyle Busch. Still all lap cars he has passed. I wonder if Elliott Sadler's on the lead lap. We have not seen him lead in a while, even though he's got a ridiculously fast car. Really, ever since he lost the lead, he hasn't gotten it back. Most recent time. Martin has caught this 147. And he's 7 seconds off the lead. We're going to see where this goes. before it got held up with Jeff Burton a little bit there. Mark Martin going to pass both cars on the backstretch. Casey Kane, next one up in front of him. I'm sure he's still without a hood. He's slow enough for Martin to be able to catch here. At some point at least. Well, we didn't count Todd Bodine out of the last race. Can't count Mark Martin out of this one. Same track. Somewhat similar circumstance. Caution rotation put us back in field. This time it's at the tail end of the longest line because we were in the free pass position when that caution came out in the middle of green flag stops. Good news is we did top off on field during that pit stop. Building up a run on the 96. Had the 9 car of Casey Kane go with him. Mark will be clear. Still no lead lap cars have been passed since the restart for the 6. All lap cars from the tail end of the field up to where he's at. 30 laps to go in this race this time by. Everybody has to pit one more time. Most of these cars could probably make it to right around a dozen laps to go, give or take, before they have to pit. Yeah, Jarrett was not on the lead lap. Joe Nemechek might be. He's been top half of the field most of this race. Sterling Marlin was in position, and Nemechek was too, so up to 9th now. So both those spots did count. Fastest lap of the day for Mark Martin with a 47.858 that last lap. And now he bump drafts Michael Waltrip here in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Really doesn't want to lift anymore. Waltrip went low. Former wide blocked him. Waltrip was a lap down. Paul Menard is for position on the inside. Mark Martin on the outside lane with Jeremy Mayfield. Oh, sorry, that's JJ Yaley, not Paul Menard. So Yaley in the 18 car. I thought it was Menard for a second. I thought it was the Quaker State lime-colored car. Neon paint scheme. Got up alongside, I realized it was the Interstate Batteries car. Good chance Jeremy Mayfield can be a spot too here. There's 3 or 4 slow cars coming up right in front of Jimmy Johnson again. Catch him a couple more times yet in this race. 6 was too far back, couldn't catch Johnson in the Southern 500. We'll see if that will be the case again here today. 3.9 second difference between Martin on the track now and race leader Jimmy Johnson. And obviously 7 spots between the 2 positions as well. Back straightaway, Jimmy Johnson gonna get held up. Pulling out of line is Mark Martin now on Mayfield for 7th. Into turn 3, he got him. Martin wanting to get in front of Mayfield for when they catch these slower cars up here so he doesn't get stacked up behind him potentially. Elliott Sadler to the lead in the tri-oval as he has passed Jimmy Johnson in the lap traffic. JJ got slowed up just a little too much there. 27 laps to go. And Sadler, the dominant car of the early going to the race, is back in the lead. Martin to the outside, got into the wall. And he did not get by Robbie Gordon very well there, and he also got held up. Newman and Harvick checked up as well, so at least Martin's able to stay with the 12. Gets by Harvick for 6th. Newman's in 5th. And looking for a 3rd straight top 5. He's going to check up right in front of Mark Martin. Martin's a 5th. 2.1 seconds off the lead. Jeff Gordon held up Kurt Busch quite a bit again. Mark Martin all the way to the apron off turn 2 to get by Gordon. But he's not quite close enough to Kurt Busch. One can of gas. Bobby Labonte to the lead for the first time off turn 4 as he gets by Sadler. Wow, Bobby Labonte in the 43 car out in front. 2000 NASCAR champ. In the Cup Series, of course. Just talking about him moving into 9th in points earlier on in the race. Johnson 4/10 slower than the leaders that last lap who are drafting together. Now Martin's without any drafting help after the loud traffic kind of split away from him there. So we'll try to catch him again, obviously. Honestly, with green flag pit stops coming up, we may only catch those lap cars one more time. Because we may pit before they catch him, either that or just after they catch him, and that could cause us to not catch him again afterwards the rest of the race. Definitely looking into a fuel-only stop, though, that's for certain. Can't speed this time. We had that pit road speeding penalty earlier. Last 2 green flag stops. A little more lenient. Wasn't trying to push as hard going in. Can't speed. Harvick involved in that second caution. A bigger wreck on the backstretch when it came to the car count of drivers involved. So good job for him to get back up to 6. He's running down Mark Martin, who hasn't been as quick since having the damage on the restart from that stack up with McMurray probably 20 or 30 laps ago now. Elliott Sadler back to the point. So he goes back and forth with Bobby Labonte and Jimmy Johnson at the front of the field. 23 laps to go, and he earns $4.99 at Talladega. And Mark Martin in 5th. Again, everybody still has to pit one more time in this race. We're all got to catch those slow cars one more time as well. It's 10.5 seconds off the lead. That stack up on the restart with McMurray. He's going to go to the outside in turns 3 and 4 here. He wants Kevin Harvick to pass him so he can share draft behind him and see if they can catch up that way. Harvick did not clear Martin off turn 4. Does want to side draft and slow these guys down even more. Running side by side. Harvick is cleared for 5th. Martin moves down, he'll draft. Catch the next car, he'll swing out of line, try to make a pass and draft again. Shame he had to be in that situation. So it wasn't really bad pit strategy. He was just leading so many laps that he had to be the first car on the pit road, so they didn't cycle all the way through. We could get another caution in the middle of green flag stops again. If it's a big enough wreck where we see a lot of debris yellows, I mean, we could end up getting close to the end of the race in these restarts every time, too, and we're going to start running out of laps, so we really got to get going like right now in case that happens. Happened in the truck race. We had a last restart with 5 to go after 3 straight cautions in the final 20 laps. Not to mention, we've already had similar circumstance in this Cup race earlier today where we had 4 cautions back to back to back to back, with a few of them being debris after a big wreck on the back straightaway. 2 wrecks with flips. We had 3 in the truck race, 2 in the Cup. We had 8 cautions in the truck race, 7 in the Cup so far. Harvick gets passed by Martin again. Mark Martin now quickly drafting up in line behind Kurt Busch in the 2. They'll stay behind him. Kurt runs to the top through turns 3 and 4. Martin wants him to go to the bottom. Kurt not moving down there. Yeah, it doesn't look like Kurt's got any desire to want to run the bottom lane. It's so tight. The damage is running a half a lane to a full lane off the top because he doesn't want to be in that dirty air behind Kurt Busch. He doesn't feel he can hold the line. $20 laps left in this one. Top 5 streak on the line here for Mark Martin. Hasn't finished outside the top 3, in fact, all season. But obviously top 5 with that. We got one car coming in. That might be Matt Kenseth. Yep, Kenseth is in the pits from the top 4. It's probably 4th of the 4 with the 48, 38, 43 in front of him. Remember, Mark Martin topped off on gas during that last stop. Kurt Busch into the back of Brian Vickers. Horn crash. Both of them stay on the racetrack, and we do not get a caution from that. But now Martin's lost his drafting partner once again. And that was exactly how the last wreck happened between Denny Hamlin and Ryan Newman, Kurt's teammate. Martin got out of harm's way. Second time that happened in front of him. He missed the flipping Hamlin car when Newman had crashed into him. In the middle of green flag stops last time. We're just starting green flag pit stops this time. Almost had a similar circumstance. That's why Martin can't afford to pit early again like he did last time and go a lap down again. It's 2.5 seconds off of race leader Elliott Sadler. Coming up on those slow lap cars, probably this lap. We don't know exactly when they're all going to pit too. Looks like they're all catching Robbie Gordon down the backstretch right now. Mark Martin getting a little extra draft off of him before moving to the bottom. Had plenty of time to do so with no cars around the 6. 16. I'll make that 17 laps to go this time by. Top 3 in front of Mark Martin stay out. Martin will stay out as well. We're going to pit at lap 174. Johnson held up. So is Bobby Labonte, both behind Kyle Petty in the 45. Here comes Mark Martin to the bottom of the racetrack. Slow car in the apron. It's Kurt Busch. Up to the outside goes Martin. He had to miss Kurt. That slowed Mark Martin up big time. Johnson gets to the inside of the 43 after contact with the 6 and the 48. Martin got into the wall. I don't think he's going to be able to stay with these guys. That right front fender, by the way, in the red on Mark Martin's race car. They're definitely going to have to repair that damage when he comes down for that fuel-only stop because he's in danger of it falling off. Bobby Labonte into the pits this time. Mark going to stay out again. 1.6 seconds behind race leader Elliott Sadler. Johnson trying to get by his teammate Jeff Gordon. Gordon going to move up in front of Martin. Martin into the back of the 24. And that will slow Mark Martin down even more. He's going to want to make time up during green flag pit stops. Can't have these problems. And with the right front fender as soft as it is, that's more damage to it. Gordon was on the bottom in front of Johnson. He moved up to let his teammate go, and right in front of Mark. Johnson will pit this time by. Mark Martin going to stay out one more lap. Elliott Sadler still on the track. It's still leading. 15 laps to go at Talladega. Martin will pit this time. It'll be a splash and go only stop. They got to repair that right front fender so he can make it to the end of the race. Drafting off Dale Jarrett, who's a lap down, coming out of the pits. And Martin's coming in. Locked the tires up a little bit, but he had to make sure he wasn't going to speed again. And it will be, we're going to go 3. We got to top off. I don't want to be short if I go half a tank. I think the tanks are short on the super speedways slightly too, so. Full tank, no adjustments. Got to repair that right front fender just a little bit. It is a gas and go only stop for Mark Martin. Where will he cycle when he makes his way off of pit road? Now the gas and go only stop should help. I'm not sure interval-wise how far he was behind Sadler. Sadler's still on the track. He did not pit. Martin's in 4th. And Sadler is on his way in right now, so this will be the moment of truth. Looks like Martin's going to be ahead of all oncoming traffic right now, but Elliott Sadler in that 38 car could be the one he's racing. I talked about it just prior to the halfway point in this race, that it could be very well a battle between the 38 and the 6, and after every crazy ensuing moment that has transpired in the last 40 laps of this one, it may still come down to the 38 and the 6 after all. They're trying to repair the damage on the right front of Mark Martin's race car. Hopefully they've repaired it enough. Kevin Harvick stayed out to lead another lap during green flag pit stop. Sadler came in that last time. Martin scored in 4th right now. Not sure where Sadler is going to be exactly. We've got a car coming out of the pits here. That's not Elliott, though. That is Ryan Newman. That is a spot, though. Martin to 3rd. Sadler's trying to get up to speed on the apron of the racetrack currently. Kevin Harvick is coming in from the lead this time. Matt Kenseth trying to close in behind the 6 car after he was the first one on the pit road. Here's the 141, and Elliott Sadler right in front of him. So Sadler comes out with a little bit of drafting help. Mark Martin in the 6. Up to 2nd. The fuel only stopped. He has jumped enough positions and is back in contention to win the race. A lot of smoke off turn 4, but no caution that last lap again. Harvick is easily going to be on pit road as the leaders race by. Lead change at the line. 12 laps to go. Mark Martin is back out in front for the first time in a long time. And now Matt Kenseth, his teammate, in 2nd right behind him. Don't believe Kenseth's led all day. Elliott Sadler in the 38 car in 3rd. Probably the fastest car in the field right now with the damage to the front of the 6. Because of the damage in the older tires here for Mark Martin by going fuel only to try to jump positions, he does not want to give up this lead. He has to race every lap like it's the last, especially if we get a caution, which is going to chew that clock down for more laps to be ran under yellow. Quite a few cars out here with damage. And that will be another 5 points. Mark Martin has clinched the most laps led, 10 bonus points in this race for him. So it'll be a max points day if he can get another win on the season. It'll be the 6th win for the number 6. Sadler on the outside. Oh, Kenseth tried to hit him. I'm not sure what Kenseth's so upset about, but it costed Mark Martin. And here comes Kenseth down to the bottom. He slams him into the wall. And Sadler's going to get to the lead. And now the left front's in the red for Mark Martin's car. What is Matt Kenseth so angry about? Looks like Sadler checked up just a little bit because of the 7 car of Robbie Gordon. 10 laps to go. Sadler leads. Jimmy Johnson 3rd. And Kenseth fell way off after getting into his teammate. Big run on the back straightaway for Mark Martin to the inside. Sadler with a block. Sadler with a block. Oh, he wrecked them both. Caution's out. Big wreck. Sadler's on his lid as he slides down the racetrack. Oh my goodness. Caution is out for the 8th time and maybe the final one. We're going to have a restart with less than 10 laps to go, and I think Johnson missed them both, and he may be the leader. Sadler threw a terrible block on the back straightaway. I think he still scored the leader, and Mark Martin somehow is still in second. Oh my goodness. Bobby Labonte in fourth. The cars behind the 38 and the 6. Less damage, obviously. Green flag back in the air. 6 laps to go at Talladega. 6 to go. Good launch for the 6. Under the 38. Mark Martin with a good launch there initially. But Elliott Sadler is able to hold on to the race lead. Johnson to second. Here's Kenseth again. As he continues to run into the 6. What is he doing? Why is he so upset? My goodness. I mean, he may have single-handedly costed this entire organization the win today. Elliott Sadler in the lead, 5 laps to go. Johnson's in second, trying to run him down. Mark Martin's a second and a half off the lead, but his car's beat up. I will say Sadler's car's got to be beat up as well. Here comes Michael Waltrip on the bottom 3 wide. I think he's a lap down. I'm not sure who's all on the lead lap at this point anymore. I can't let Kenseth go. I'm going to have to let somebody who's not Matt Kenseth go. I don't know how that's going to work, but it's going to have to. Because if Kenseth gets underneath us again, he's just going to try to wreck us. Waltrip on the outside. He's trying to build up a run. Kenseth going up the block. I mean, we just have to block the 17. Going to lift into the tri-oval a little bit. That's something we want to do at Talladega. Trying to get Michael Waltrip that run on the top. Problem is Ryan Newman's going up the middle 3 wide. Oh, I got tight. I got tight. God bless America, Kenseth. You've got to be joking me right now. Matt Kenseth is an idiot. And he's still ahead of us. What is his problem? 3 to go. This time by Elliott Sadler and Jimmy Johnson going one-on-one for the win. Mark Martin is now back to 10th. This is going to ruin our top 5 streak. He's a teammate too. Why is he so mad? He was an ally earlier in the race, so I would have had to have gotten into him or something. Why is he so mad at us? Can anybody recall me getting into Matt Kenseth at all in this race? Because I don't. I do not remember a time. He hasn't even led a single lap all day. And we've led the most. I haven't seen him. And he was an ally when I saw him earlier. When we were driving up through the field the first time. Is he so mad that we've led so many laps or something? I don't get it. I don't think we can pick up any more positions. A lot of the cars in front of us are all lapped down. I think Harvick may be a spot. We need to make sure we stay in the top 10 at least to try to keep the top 10 streak alive this year. Race for something. Harvick to the inside. Kurt Busch may be on the lead lap too. Yeah, Harvick is for a spot. And 2 laps to go. And if Sadler didn't throw that bad block and wreck us both, the fact that he threw a bad block, wrecked us both, and he still might win this race, it's going to be amazing. I hope Jimmy Johnson wins this one. He is in second, and they'll be coming to the white flag this time by. No cautions on the final lap in this game. Oh, contact between Casey Kane and Kevin Harvick in the tri-oval. Kurt Busch had to brake pretty heavily to check up and miss it. That should lock Mark Martin into a top 10. At the very least. After leading the most laps, being in contention late, and his teammate takes him out of it. Mad Matt. Is that going to be his new nickname on the channel? Mad Matt Kenseth? Crazy. 10th place, our first finish outside the top 5. Should have known it was going to be on a super speedway, but we had a fast car. I mean, I didn't do anything wrong this entire race. That's the sad part. Like, that caution in the middle of green flag stops, which put us a lap down, put us in that situation for whatever stupid reason. Matt Kenseth was so upset with us. Could have raced it cleanly with ourselves on the 38, wrecked us instead. Both before the restart and on the restart. Even if we didn't win, we could have finished probably no worse than 3rd. Both of us, I mean, 2nd, 3rd, even if neither one of us won. Instead, we finished 7th and 10th. He hurt himself and he hurt me, but he hurt me worse because he still beat me. 51 laps led for Sadler today. Started 25th, won the race. He had a fast car. I said it was going to be between the 38 and the 6, and the 38 won it, so he was deserving. 3 hours, 23 minutes, 52 seconds total time in the race. 42 lead changes, 8 cautions, 1.7 seconds margin of victory. Jimmy Johnson, after his win in the Southern 500 at Darlington, backs up, leading 25 laps and finishing 2nd. Talladega. How about the Rocket Man, Ryan Newman? Led 2 laps during green flag stops, but finished in 3rd. This is 4 straight top 5s for Newman. Sterling Marlin finishes 4th with MB2 in the 14 car. And Bobby Labonte, who had a great day all day, is top 10 most of the afternoon. Finished 5th, led 1 lap in the late going as well. Jeremy Mayfield 6th, Matt Kenseth 7th, Joe Nemechek 8th, JJ Haley 9th. Mark Martin led 87 of the 188 laps. Led the most, finished in 10th after starting last in this race. As far as drivers who finished on the lead lap, we only had 11 up and finished on the lead lap, so I guess Kurt Busch was a lap down that he was behind us late. And we'll check to see who all DNF'd. Greg Biffle blew an engine early. And then the only other 3 drivers who had engine issues in this one still finished the race many laps down. That was Robbie Gordon, then Jeff Gordon, then Kyle Petty. So only 1 DNF despite the 8 cautions, 2 flips. Probably, 2 big ones at least, maybe 3. Actually, 3 flips. 2 from Hamlin and 1 from Sadler. Sadler still wins. They shouldn't have given him his spot. They shouldn't have given either of our spots back, to be completely honest. Wouldn't have hurt our position much because we were still in the lead lap. And we finished 2nd the last time the lead lap. Dang. Oh yeah, I'm mad at Kenseth for sure. I don't know what he was upset about. I mean, that's the only, there was no justifiable reason for him to do that. I don't remember being anywhere around him the whole race. I don't remember him being a rival at the beginning of the race, so something happened. Auto Club 500. 500-mile race, Auto Club Speedway, California Speedway in this game. That will be the next race on this custom schedule season. And we'll check out the point standings. Check out the points. Johnson finished 2nd. He's 149 back. He's chipping away. 2 races in a row. The 48 has beaten the 6. Matt Kenseth, 3rd in points. Gained some ground. Newman with the top 5. Gains ground in 4th. Stewart, Kurt Busch, we beat them both. They finished a lap down. Bobby Labonte up to 7th in points of that 43 car. Great start to the season through the first 10 races. Even Jeremy Mayfield, top 10 in points through the first 10 races and had a win at Bristol in the Food City 500. Sadler getting his first win of the year. He's up to 11th in the standings. Thanks for everybody tuning in today. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR contents. Patreon account was also uploaded late yesterday. If you want any sort of fantasy betting I can't talk. Fantasy or betting advice, more in depth than what I do in the pre-race, be sure to check that out. You do get a 7-day free trial, so if you don't like it, you can always decline and be like, you know what, that's not for me, whatever. There is also a $5 tier if you're not into betting or fantasy, that if you still want to support the channel, you can. Link in the community tab on a post I uploaded yesterday. As for today, live commentary stream in about another hour for the Chicago Street Race for the Xfinity Series, and then we will go live for our Chicago Street Race Cup Race live commentary stream tomorrow evening. Both start times for today and tomorrow, 5 p.m. Hope to see you there, Eastern Standard Time for 5 p.m. and we will still have our pre-race tomorrow as usual. Thank you everybody for your support. Did not make it to Chicago this weekend on late notice, but we will enjoy the race together this weekend in its entirety. Hope to see you there. Thanks for watching. See you in a little bit.